Good evening, Free Enterprise fans, and welcome to this Friday community race featuring the Fabul Gauntlet Swiss round flags from 3 years ago. My name's Rybon. I have these four fantastic racers ahead of me, and everybody's favorite livestock launcher is here, Sheep Launcher, here with me in the booth. Sheep, how's it going?
I'm doing great, Rybon. Always great to be around for a Friday community race, especially with these retro flags, the Fabul Gauntlet Swiss round flags. And Rybon, you've been racing in the community coming off your Red Moon waxing win. What do you think of these flags?
I'm a big fan of these Fabul Gauntlet flags. T standard really changes the way the opening works out. Um, Having five objectives, all of them required to win the crystal. I believe this was the first tournament that had the objectives, so this is new to everybody, but it kind of rings a little bit like not Anime Cup. Was it Anime Cup where we had all seven objectives required? I believe so. But yeah, it's a relatively difficult flag set, and I also did a little bit of research to look at the bracket level flag sets for this, and it gets way ruder too. Whoever was making the flag sets back then, bravo, hats off to you.
Yeah, we had some winners, some legends of the game. Invenerable won this tournament, beating Rivers McCown in the finals. No big deal. But we have four fantastic runners on stream tonight. Tall Grant, Tybalt, Garen, and Jay Brunter are taking on this flag set. The objectives, it looks like a couple of tricky ones. The Forge with have Coco forge the legend sword with the adamant, as well as defeating the Baron basement throne, both required. The other three could be done fairly easily. We have a boss hunt. Mylon Z is on the menu.
Yeah, definitely. Searching out key items is one thing, but that one boss hunt could really extend the seed if he happens to be hiding away behind the package over a giant 2 where people just may not be interested in checking. So this could definitely be a quick seed, or it could be an hour and a half, 2 hour slog, and I'm here for either one of those.
Forget, we are on the lookout for Demist as well. Edward will not have a free key item for us in Troya. Instead, the key item will be wherever Demist is found. Then our runners will return to Rydia's mom in Mist Village. And we have a Palom start. It looks like a Quack Kid can really do some damage in the early game.
Yeah, very good starting character to have. Get that Quake online relatively quickly around level 23. And you're not going to have a bad time with the overworld or even a hook route if that's what we get. And also a partner Rosa, King Queen Evelyn here at the Baron spot. A power shirt, which, is kind of like a heroine robe, but not really. And off we go.
Yeah, we're glad to have you with us. And this is a really good start. The best black mage and the best white mage in the game. Let's go. They can
Yeah. So
also do Rosa, especially if you find a decent bow and set of arrows for her, can carry the team early on until Palom gets those level 2 spells online.
that power shirt is going to be very valuable for all of our runners tonight as well. With T standard on, there's not a lot of items that we're probably going to be obtaining that's above tier 5, at least until the late game. So the power shirt being a tier 6 item, a very powerful item, is going to be carrying any melees we find early on in the seed.
We have our runners going in different directions. The treasure tonight is T standard, which means it's not weighted particularly heavily in out of the way places. You don't get a bonus for going into the watery pass. Jay Brunter going right where the treasure is in the public treasury in Troya.
Yeah, there's a lot of potential places to loot and how to open this particular flag set. I like what Tall Grant's doing. With T standard on, as you mentioned, there's really no waiting whatsoever. You can get up to a tier 5 item from any chest in the game. It doesn't matter if you are in Evelyn Castle, in the Watery Pass, whatever. So for the most part, if you want loot early on, you should be trying to look for places with high density. Damsian Castle is one of those top locations. Public Treasury is a pretty good location as well, and we see 3 of our runners hitting Damsian basement already.
all finding some good stuff in there. A ninja sword, a bandana, and a mute knife that will make that palom serviceable early on.
Yep, and if an edge does happen to show up with that power shirt, he's good to go. You have everything you need for him to be a top tier melee.
Yeah, he will be restricted, so he will be behind a key item. Tibble did loot out Baron and did show us Yong in the Baron Inn, guarded in the first spot by a Lunar Sparkle. A nice elixir in Damsian as well. Garen going to go check out Mount Hobbs, get a little bit more firepower for this party, and going to equip Rosa with that power shirt.
Mm-hmm. And Talgrad gave us our first shot of Mount Hobbs. It is an Edward being guarded by a Karate. Says, nope, no thank you. And that's, in my opinion, a pretty wise choice because the spoon flag is not on in its flag set. So that Edward is about as useless as he can get.
What a bummer. He'll have to sing to the Karate Man up on Mount Hobbs all by himself. Tybalt diving into, I believe this is the Mist Cave, and encountering Plague there.
It's an interesting call. It's a decent play because killing Plague here does get enough XP, I believe, for Palom to get one level, which is exactly what you need for Ice 2, and to enable a bit of offense. But also at the same time, it is indeed an objective.
It is. And completed by Tybalt. Now, one advantage the current game has over the Fabul Gauntlet at the time, you could exit out of Mist Cave without inviting the yellow screen and the screen of death. Oh, a Sammy bow for Jay Brunter in Mist Cave. Really nice pickup there.
Yeah. Mist Cave, again, on T standard, not weighted any differently, but that Samuel bow is a fantastic pickup. And speaking of other fantastic pickups, I did notice that Talgram picked up a cursed ring over in the Atline Cave on the first screen on the left. So he is up at that particular key item right now.
Aaron and Talgrant taking on Ashura here in the Antlion Cave. And Tybalt did check out the waterfall, found only a Rubicant, taking a shower with all of the leg, so no leg required tonight. And curse rings for sale for Jabron. And so, yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I'm going to take a little bit of the advantage away from Talgrant. Having 35k early on to spend on that cursed ring is pretty easy with the amount of loot that our runners have found tonight. But still, cursed rings for everyone will be a very welcome sight.
Now, I believe Vanilla Agility is on for this flag set. So how important is that cursed ring for anybody who finds it or buys it?
Without a Cecil in your party, Vanilla Agility doesn't matter too much. I don't think it's actually on in this flag set, I believe, but if it were, that it does potentially keep Cecil in check, but you can still keep him at a... Really, with any type of agility, any type of flag that restricts your agility or your agility anchor, like Sea Hero or Vanilla Agility, any type of agility manipulating gear, whether it's plus or minus, a ninja hat or a curse string, is extremely valuable.
And Talgrant and Garen picking up that Magma Key, so no tough hook route tonight for our runners. That just makes us want Mylon Z along that hook route that much more.
Yep, but it definitely opens up some options for our runners. With a Magma Key opportunity to head underground, with that Quack Kid, if you can go find a Siren or a Siren and a Coffin underground in the S Standard shop that we do have on in this flag set, you can get that Quake online and really just open up this seed rather than trying to aim things down with Rosa.
Yeah, very much so. The underground opening up is really huge. A lot of places to shop and loot. We're still early enough in this seed that the Tomra treasury could be worth a time investment. And the chests on the way down into the Fey March and in the Fey March, they are dense enough on T standard to make the juice worth the squeeze.
Yep, definitely in Fey March Town. Speaking of treasure, though, I did notice that Tall Grant found something a little better than a power shirt. Found a heroine robe in the tower heading up to Sheila. So far better for Rotha at this point. Not just 15 strength, but 15 agility on top of that to make her an excellent fast anchor for this overworld.
And Mylon Z putting himself right out there, invading Fabul. This is big. This is turning into a jet seat already.
Yeah, sure is. With Mylon Z out of the way, we're just looking for key items going forward. Precisely 4 of them.
Yes.
One of them being the Darkness Crystal.
Yeah, Baron Key and Legend Sword and Adamant are the other ones. But yeah, Mylon Z not doing a particularly good job of hiding in this seed. Disappointing.
Disappointing for him, but... actually, I have to double check. I don't think Tallgrad did get that magma key yet. His Rotha and Palom are both at base level, and I think Palom at the very least would have gained a level. So maybe he reset out of that plague.
He might, out of Ashura, he might have taken a wipe.
Or Ashura, yes.
Jabrun in the Baron Inn takes care of the Lunar Sparkle and finds the dolls in the second spot. And, Yong was playing with his dolls out in public.
He liked his action figures. Unfortunately for Jabrun, though, tried to cue that Zeus Rage, which I believe would have actually killed, but the user, Palom, died to an attack, and as a result, the Zeus Rage was consumed.
Yeah, it's a bummer. If you were going to use it and then you got struck down, it kind of factors as having been used. Tough luck for you.
Yeah, definitely very unfortunate for Jabrun.
Garen has better luck and gets the pass. Do you have somewhere to be, Cubs? The pass is a quick ticket to the moon. Do want to thank our restreamer Cubs Rule 21 and our intrepid tracker, the Bardic Panda, for joining us here tonight. The action is coming fast and furious so far, and now the hunt is on for key items.
Yep, and we are all over the place. Pass as well for Jabrun and Tall Grant up here on Ordeals, fighting the one, the only turtle in the flag set. Shouldn't have too much trouble with that heroine robe Rotha. Meanwhile, we have Tybalt heading underground, and I am pretty certain that Garen and Jabrun will be following him very shortly.
Yeah, which play do you prefer here? The Ordeals play or the underground play, if you had both available to you?
I am much more a fan of the underground play at this particular point. Attempting to find those sirens, get Quake online as quickly as possible. That would just ultimately speed everything else up going forward. So I understand why Tallgrant is doing this without knowledge of the magma key in Antlion, because he reset that one earlier. He may be thinking that there could be something here in Ordeal which will give him underground access, but I do like instead what Tybalt and Jabrun are doing here.
And Tybalt going into Dwarf Castle does find the dwarves have the wine shop open. Bacchus is for sale in Dwarf Castle.
Bacchus wine, fantastic item, one of my favorites in the game. Unfortunately for our party right now, not the most useful. Maybe Rydia or Rotha could get a little bit of use out of it, but I do agree with skipping that right now for Tybalt. Save your money, see if you can find something else a little more impactful for the party you currently have.
Yeah, it's definitely a good thing to have in the back of your mind, but no need to waste money on that right now. You have Beaujolais at home. You don't need Bacchus's right now. But Tybalt doing some extra looting in Dwarf Castle. Gets trolled.
And again. I mean, you can't really be mad at him. This is his castle, not yours.
And usually Luca is the one trolling a Dwarf Castle. A little bit of a time loss there, but Tybalt practicing his dance moves.
Meanwhile, Jaybrun has set up Sheila 1, so Sylph Cave is complete there. That could potentially be of significant value to Jaybrun. Giran working on this turtle. We have a back attack officer guards combo up here on Ordeal for Tallgrand. And are we going to get it? Did we already get it? An instrument technician. I'm not sure if that's like a musical instrument or a medical instrument, or maybe just all instruments.
Yeah. What is an instrument of the heart? Some kind of instrument technician. Ooh, tiaras for sale. And Jaybrun all the way down into the Bay March will presumably check these shops down here as well. Just a white spear in the freebie chest.
Yeah, white spear valuable if we happen to find that cane. With that power shirt as well, would turn him into a serviceable melee. But as it is now, we're kind of restricted on our character checks. I believe we're pretty much down to exactly Dwarf Castle, and that is it.
Yeah, Hobbs and Baron Inn have already been checked out, unless an Earth Crystal or a Hook shows up at some point. Dwarf Castle is the only character check that's available right now. And you have to go through kind of a rude boss to get there. The first spot, no joke.
I unfortunately did not see the key item or what item came from Ordeals, but we do have a Mom Bomb up here. So a relatively rude location for Mom Bomb. Going to have to wait for the explosion here because there's no way we're doing 9,000 additional damage. And Talents should have you a bad day here as well.
Our tracker, the Bardic Panda, saying a Zeus Gauntlet from Ordeals. And Land of Summon Monsters, we've seen quite a bit on these flags. One or both of those bosses required. Tonight, Octomam married to Odin. And at least some of our runners have Edward available. Can we see some Hide Strat Thunderstruck? Strat? Dare we dream?
Definitely a possibility, especially if we happen to have a illusion or two lying around. As well as I believe we need a Silk Web too, but it's definitely something that I think maybe Tybalt may have in the back of his mind right now. Or will have once he gazes upon the glory that is Queen Odin.
Now, Octomam will hit hard, but the good thing about it is once you can connect on a couple of hits, slows down very quickly and becomes very manageable.
Yeah, definitely with the power of Blink, that spot is doable, but just not worth the time investment, I believe, for any of our runners right now. They'll probably last location that I believe. K-summon spots generally don't have the best chance of dropping key items you need, so I would not be surprised if all of our runners just save that for last.
Tell me the odds. Actually, tell me the odds. What are the odds?
32.333%. Repeating, of course.
32? Why 32?
I like even numbers.
Okay. It's a third minus 1%. That works for me.
Yeah,
Tallgrad heading into Tallgrad heading into Baron Inn. Tybalt going to set up the Fabul double dip.
As Jaybrun already has, finding his Minon Z down here at Fabul defense. I believe Tallgrad is ultimately going to be forced into going back to that Antlion. There's no hook in sight, and I believe he's pretty much out of options.
Yeah.
So heading his way back to Antlion shortly after this. Giran is done up here on Ordeal, so if we do happen to find a Cecil from Dwarf Castle, Giran, Tallgrad both have that Cecil unlocked and ready to go. Jaybrun and Tybalt may instead decide to try to fade Ordeals as much as possible with a rather long check. with 3 bosses and a rather long cutscene in the changing room. So it's a rather trendy fade amongst runners.
And no characters who would directly benefit from ordeals at this point. No Cecil, no Tella, not even a Fu hanging around. And the item from Fabul Defense, by the way, a Murasame, that edge, starting to think that edge is never going to show up.
Yeah,
Just too much good stuff for him.
That's generally how it works. If you find a crystal sword, Cecil's not in the seed. Behind Sheila 1, we have a rat tail, which is cool to look at. We will gaze upon it lovingly for like the next 30 minutes until we find a hook, but ultimately a dead end for our runners right now.
Yeah, and so far, not a lot of key items to go around. They are going to come fast and furious at some point, but right now our runners are quickly running out of options.
And unfortunately for Tallgrant, maybe in a bit of trouble here. I'm not sure if he happens to have a J item to take all of these out. I assume not. Rhoda, for the most part, is immune to these dolls. With that heroin robe on in the back row, she's not going to take, any significant damage. But the problem is she can't really deal any significant damage herself. At least not in a fast enough manner to avoid the big doll.
Yeah, and the big doll will hit harder. Probably. Well, will the big doll, do you think, hit hard enough to cause Rosa damage in the back row? Because Rosa can power that down if she can stay upright.
No, you're probably correct. Big doll will probably not kill Rosa, but the issue is if you don't do sufficient enough damage to big doll quick enough, big doll will become small doll again, and then you are pretty much soft locked.
Yes. Yeah, you're basically running on a treadmill at that point. The good thing that Tallgrant has going for him here is this spot is slow. So if he can get the shots off relatively quickly, he might be able to kill one doll after the other and devoid the big doll forming.
He also managed to get Palom up, so that will definitely work out. And while this spot may be slow, one problem is that he's anchored with Palom, and Palom is also slow. Rosa, with that heroin robe on, is acting at RA1, but the dolls are acting relatively quickly too. But still, through this fight nonetheless, gets his Yang and gets his pass.
Very nicely done. And Garen will be the first of our restreamed runners to head into Dwarf Castle. There are 9 runners overall. Tonight, our 4 restreamed runners are joined by some others, and we'll keep you posted on how they are doing as well. But a Lunar Sparkle is dancing around for Garen. This could be nasty.
Nope. This is terrible.
No. 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 No.
So hear me out. Like, if Garen had a heroin robe, that was doable. But sadly, does not appear to have found one. That Rosa should be able to take minimal damage in the back row from that Ogopogo and slowly do 90,000 damage to that Ogopogo. But, let's come back later.
Rybon, you know what I'm thinking. You know what I'm thinking at this point. It's Keyless Tower.
Keyless Tower is an option. It's looking like a better option the longer we go. I assume that I'm probably not paying enough attention. I think all our runners have probably checked the shops, and sirens may not be available in the shops at the very least. I know Bacchus is available, and that's about it. So that may be the option. Maybe actually consider some trap chests. I don't like trap chests on T standard simply because it is a random tier 5 to tier 8 item, and if you're looking for something cool, like game changing, like an Avenger, Crystal Sword, Xcal, you have a very, very, very low chance of actually getting it from a trap chest, but you do get XP from a trap chest. So if hourglasses happen to be available or coffins happen to be available, that's a nice way to get Palom to Quake and open up a few options.
Muffins and silk webs for sale in the Feymarch. I don't believe Jabron checked uh, this shop when he was down here. Coffins are going to be nice to deal with some of those trap chests.
Yeah, definitely. And if we happen to find something like lit arrows, Rhoda may be strong enough to kill the trap chests over in the lower tower of Babel. Only about like 1600 HP on those searchers, and could drop, have just as good shot of dropping something useful as even an Eblin trap chest.
And I know lit arrows were for sale somewhere in the overworld, and Tybalt, I believe, bought a stack of them.
All right, it's time for Jabrun to get the bad news of who happens to be here in Dwarf 1. We'll see if his, luck fared a little better than Girin's.
We will see. It might be snack time for a particular snake.
Meanwhile, Tall Grant is like, Athura, I've returned, and I've come to bargain. And this time I have vampires.
Yes, will be very useful. Vampire is kind of an underrated J item. Can really come through when you're not dealing enough damage with any other method.
Jabrun unfortunately taking a wipe over there on that Ogopogo. So Ogopogo 2, runner 0. And as he mentioned, yep, Tall Grant is done, has that magma key. Let's go underground.
Tybalt has completed his ordeals. Garen going to check out Young in the bed, and then go back up to Sheila. And again, our runners are basically searching for that next piece of progression. And right now, their options are the Dwarf Castle with an Ogopogo in the first spot. One of the two summon monsters, Odin or Octomam, with Blink still a couple levels away for their roses, or Keyless Tower.
Yeah, I like all of those. Let's do all of them. Now this is one
that sounds like fun.
Yeah, this is the one great wrinkle I like about Fabul Gauntlet and some of the older tournament flag sets. You could get into situations like this where you really have no good options, and you're just going to have to use, your game knowledge to push through this difficult situation. Because really, this is more like a puzzle than anything else.
Yeah, this is really one of those where you're going to have to put your thinking cap on, be resourceful, and Jabrun is going to loot on his way up the tower, maybe looking for some of those trap chests.
Yeah, as I mentioned, T-standard traps are not very enticing, but there is that low chance, maybe a 10% chance of pulling a game-changing item, like an Artie bow would be game-changing for Rosa here, or there's nothing game-changing for Yang. maybe a Stardust Rod for Palin would be fantastic, but otherwise...
Yeah. Now the boss at the top of the tower does have a ton of HP, not especially powerful, but it could be really rude. Baigen up here would not be fun.
No, 19,000 HP around this location, so that is a lot of HP to chew through for this very low offense party. Let's see what fresh garbage that Cubs have put up here at the top of tower tonight. Oh, that's actually not great. Those are bearing guards. We've seen officer guards over on ordeals. And we do have mute, so we don't have to worry about turning tiny. And if Rhoda happens to have mute arrows, this could be doable.
Going to put the cursed ring on Yang, slow them down as much as possible. I don't know if anybody has an hourglass. An hourglass would make this much more palatable.
As with those coffins from Feymarch, I'm not sure if Jabron bought any, but if he did, this is going to be not just quick, but a nice chunk of XP as well, probably getting Palom all the way to Quake.
Well, Grant, I didn't see if he picked up any coffins, but he did pick up some kamikazes and starveils from that shop in the Feymarch.
All right, it is Tybalt's turn on the Ogo Pogo. You must be at least this tall to ride. Tybalt, how tall are you right now?
Ooh, I don't think he has the range here.
Okay, I do see three coffins sitting right there in Jabron's inventory. So, unfortunately, Palom going down is not what you want to see here. But a coffin coming out, Yang going down.
Ooh, and
That's unfortunate.
Our restreamer Cubs were pointing out Jabron took off the heroin robe on Rosa, and that probably made the difference.
Yeah, it's a little strange. Looks like we're cursing Palom instead, which is fine. If you're not comfortable run buffering here, potentially lowering the battle speed to 6 would also make this fight a whole lot easier. Going down to 3 for Jabron, so that's a pretty good call here. And time for round 2.
Tybalt actually standing up longer than either of the other two runners to have run into Ogopogo. Not out of the woods yet by any means, but acquitting himself nicely so far.
Yeah, Jabron showing he has staying power, but can he outlast the Canadian Note Noodle?
Yeah, Ogopogo's just such a bear anywhere you find him, which is ironic because he's a snake. Or a dragon. Not a dragon. A serpent of some kind.
600 damage ain't gonna do it. Uh-oh. I'm concerned for Tybalt's HP right now. But we are seeing some nice coffins and life glitches over here on Jabron's side. That will be Quake for Palom and through this fight.
Yeah, nice and tidy 39,000 EXP. And Blink on Rosa as well. Jabron's in business.
Nice package. I go check that. I want better characters.
Yeah, seriously. We started off with Palom and Rosa, and we thought we were in Fat City. Not much after that, but yeah, that package looking really, really desirable.
So, are you thinking what I'm thinking? And not just the package, but something a little different than the package.
You missed behind the package?
I mean, that'd be cool too. But Jabron has a very interesting choice right now, if you realize it. With that Quake on that Palom and with that Curse Ring in hand, still trap chests are available, which, again, on T standard, not the most lucrative choice, but that is a large chunk of XP for Jabron if he wants to pick that up and make the remainder of the seat quite easy. I wonder if he'll do it.
Yeah, we will see. Just a crystal shield from the one trap chest. Tybalt, meanwhile, going for Ogopogo again.
All right, we're at Ogopogo 3, runner 0.
Yeah, I admire the gumption here. Tybalt feels like he was on the verge. Paul Grant, meanwhile, ascending the tower, gonna try and pick up some trap chests of his own. And the problem with alerts is the EXP here, not great. And maybe, ooh, a nice strength ring for Jabron.
Yeah, I believe Jabron already had that Zeus Gauntlet, I believe, from Ordeals, but if a second melee shows up, an outstanding pickup. And I just am really interested to see that we have not one, not two, but 3 runners that are doing lower Babel trap chest, which is usually a pretty uninspiring or unpopular play. but it is very popular amongst our runners today.
Usually, you see the Tower of Babel trap chest play when K-Trap is on, or if you have Edge in your party, because Edge can sneak sirens from these alerts. But yeah, our runners looking for something that can help turn the tide here. Something like the Stardust Rod you were mentioning earlier. And there are quite a few trap chests in the Tower of Babel. There are 4 of them.
Yep, a grand total of 4. Each of these searchers capable of summoning something a little different. The searcher over here on Jabrun's side, unfortunately summoning the Stone Man, which is probably the worst thing you could possibly get summoned up here, because it has a whole lot of magic defense. Really, the only way to deal magic damage to it is with an Ice Spell.
Yeah, Yang was able to punch that Stone Man, but then got punched himself. It goes down hard.
And Tybalt takes one against Ogopogo. And it looks like we are getting a Porum from the Dwarf Castle check for the character. And we have Dark Imps to follow up. So twins unlocked. We have a second white mage as well. And let's see if we can get through this fight, because Rosa's looking a little beat up at the moment.
Yeah, a little dicey, but does have some coffins available. That Ogopogo fight, really a war of attrition, and even though Dark Imps are kind of free, they, when you only have one character standing, can be a concern. But Tybalt's going to make it through with 86 HP to spare.
Oh, very well played by Tybalt, getting through this very difficult check. Unfortunately, Quack Kid not getting any of the XP from any of this, so Quack Kid remains Quackless for the time being. He also remains Warpless, but the good news is the Warp Glitch is off on this flag set, so nothing really lost there.
No issues. But Porum is an interesting character there. You said Twin Magic is unlocked. Is that still a viable spell at this point in the game?
The moment you have Virus or Quake on Palom, probably not. But I'm not sure if the Palom over on Tybalt's side has either one. I'd be surprised to see him use it. But it is indeed an option, and a Tower Key is going to push him to do Keyed Tower rather than Keyless Tower like the remainder of our runners.
Yeah, Tybalt will be the only one to do the Keyful Tower play. And in fact, he is heading there right now. Don't need to tell him twice.
I mean, yeah, definitely considering his remaining options, this is by far probably the most popular and most appealing check to Tybalt. Now, that's interesting. I think Jabrun may actually be doing what I was thinking he may do, which is, Quake these Sylph Traps, get a nice chunk of XP on his characters, and roll over the remainder of the seed. Because I think with the 7 trap chests here in the Sylph Cave, that's nearly 150, 160,000 XP. That's really going to propel your Palom, your Yang, and your Rosa to very useful levels.
Yeah, and they are relatively easy to find. I mean, there are a lot of them, and I believe Jabrun knows that the very first chest you encounter to the right, once you enter, is a trap chest.
One thing that Jabrun just needs to be cognizant of is that his Palom only has 179 mana, which, Quake casting costing 30 mana, is only worth 5 trap chests and not 7. So, needs to be a little careful here, and may need to lower the battle speed a bit, because it's unfortunate that these enemies are actually getting attacks off.
Yeah, oh, and a breath.
Oh. No, don't kill Palom with a frog, please.
He had it all the way. Never a doubt.
Not at all. 33k XP for Jabrun and his party. Gets a gold apple, which is more useful than you would think on this flag set. And Jabron continues on down. A little potentially vulnerable right now. His party toted. And I think one issue Jabron may have here is that he lowered to battle speed 3, which is normally what you need to do to get Quake off, without significant concern when you have a full party. But the moment you start having less than 5 characters in your party, they're not taking these like invisible actions in the background. So to compensate, you actually may want to lower your battle speed a little more to make it easier to land these Quakes or get these Quakes off without significant run buffering. So Jabron, we'll see how he handles here.
Fabul in the cannon room and finds a Blarg. Able to get 1 Star Veil off. And again, not a lot of EXP to go around. But makes it through.
Very good. Tybalt definitely on his toe there. Get through that Wyvern. Generally not a very powerful Wyvern spot. Usually hits for about 1200 HP max, but that's more HP than anyone in his party currently has.
It's also more HP than that Wyvern itself had, and so goes down immediately. And we'll find out at the end of this journey what the key item is.
Mm-hmm.
And Jabron dispatches the Toad Lady. By the way, got an Avenger from the previous trap chest, so Cecil Watch is on.
Yep, plenty of great items found for characters that are not in this party.
Yeah, kind of a modified reject percent so far. After Palom and Rosa start Young, Edward, and then Quorum. Not a whole lot of firepower to go along. Go Ninja Shirt, go Ninja Shirt, go.
Jabron demonstrated that he knows how to do these self-trap chests very well. Not going for the Quake on the Centipedes, going directly for the Virus because that does cast quite a bit faster. And finds a Siren. That Siren is extremely valuable right now.
Yeah, that is a lifesaver. And Garen going to try Ogopogo now.
Round 2 for Garen here. Far more equipped, I believe, and prepared for it this time around. And this is an interesting situation. Hopefully, Jabra has some kind of defense. Appears to on that Palom. Quake is off and should be through this fight. Only has enough left in the tank for 1 more Quake, so needs to be careful here.
Tallgrave gets to see the Baron Guards do a little 2-step. They're what dance do you suppose that Baron Guards are doing with each other up at the top of the tower?
I think they're doing the Macarena. This game being back in the 90s, I think the Macarena was a thing back then.
Sure. Maybe they're doing the Hokey Pokey. That might be what it's all about.
I guess we'll find out. What, you put the piggy in, you put the mini out. No, I got nothing.
Oh yeah, they're shaking it all about. For sure.
They're definitely shaking Tallgrant a bit here.
Yeah.
Having a difficult time with these Baron Guards. May have forgotten. I believe he may have Toffmans in his inventory. I think I've seen them, but hasn't used them just yet. Instead attempted to use the Medusa arrows, which unfortunately didn't pay off.
And encountered an alert is going to turn on encounters just for a little bit of extra experience.
All right, Tybalt is done with his tower, and we get a peek at what is behind the super cannon. It's the twin harp. I hate it. Put it back.
No, it's wonderful. Music time.
It's such a long check. Let's go do Fey March instead.
Yeah, let's do Thunderstruck. Why not?
Yeah, we don't even have exit. Let's not go to Cave Magni. It's a silly place. I mean, Tybalt might have exit on that forum.
Yeah, that would be the only thing. Although I believe there was at least one exit found in a chest. So we'll see if anybody hangs on to that.
Looks like Tybalt is thinking maybe thunder striking with that Edward. We'll find out because I'm not sure what else he's planning on doing down here.
Might be going shopping as well. Did pick up a couple items in the Dwarf Castle. Garen makes it through. The boss has got a nice roll on a grimoire to take out the Dark Imps. And we'll have to venture back into the tower.
We have a little bit of grumbling coming from Garen right now, I'm sure. But I was just there. I don't want to walk up.
I literally just did that.
But it looks like everyone's getting their revenge on Ogo Pogo right now. Jabron appears to have this fight well under control as well. And will have his Porum very shortly too.
Soon? Ogo Pogo will be just 500 against against our runners.
Yep, the good thing is you only have to win once. Unless you forget to save, and then you may have to win twice.
Don't forget to save. Rybon, you need to save.
Scala, is that you? I'm getting flashbacks to a couple tournaments ago.
Sybil going to take on this Octomam. Has a Moon Veil on Yang.
Go, Yang, go.
Yeah, and that will do it. Yang will be invulnerable here.
Everyone else, however, not long for this world. But it's okay. You know, good opportunity for Tybalt to go grab a drink, maybe hit the bathroom, or, you know, pet his dog, whatever. It's going to take a while.
Yang can do it on his own. He's going to be a quarterback when he grows up.
And real talk, people like to diss Yang a lot. Like, oh, it's Yang. He's like one of the worst melees out there. You know, even Spoonware's better than Yang, some people will say. But especially on this flag set with T standard on, Yang is actually fantastic. He doesn't really need anything to get going. You know, you can have a completely naked Yang if you want to, and he will do nasty things to this Octomam. I think we do have a Thunderclaw equipped, and 2k a pop isn't too bad.
Yeah, it could certainly be going a lot slower. But yeah, all Yang really needs is levels. Don't need any fancy equipment for him. And in a flag set where you're basically guaranteed to get levels anyway, you might as well have somebody there who will just get stronger and stronger.
Sadly, that is one thing that is escaping Tybalt to this point. Nobody really has levels. That is close to base level Edward, close to base level Porum. Quack Kid has Quack, but really nothing else. I'm not even sure if Rosa has Blink. She might at 900 HP. Yang at 1100 HP is not very significant. At a defense sword, it's not what you're looking for here.
Nope. It was a nice little piece of work to get through that Octomam. But yeah, would you trade a Moon Veil for a defense sword?
In all honesty, I'd be very much considering resetting to get my Moon Veil back and maybe using that Moon Veil instead of an illusion on that Edward to try to Thunderstrike that Odin.
Yeah, that would be a really good play. You did get 4 levels on Yang for that EXP, but oh, and there's Kane. Garrett finally going to check that package for us. Finding Mr. Average himself.
Oh, I was about to say Jabron could be very happy, but it looks like Jabron is back in Self Cave doing the trap chest again. May have forgotten to save and taken a wipe at that Dwarf Castle check.
Oh no.
And here we go again. The bright side is Jabrun knows where the trap chests are.
Yes. That you got to find the bright side where you can. Oh, and the Dragoon wearing the red armor. I like Kane in this look.
Yeah, the Bloody Betrayer. I'm a big fan of it. And it looks like we are going to get a potential Spoonward or Edward Thunderstrike attempt here. We have the Silk Web out.
Yeah.
And everyone else is about to die. I think it was Jabrun that had the AC/DC name on one of his characters. Maybe he'll try it.
Jabrun doing the 80s hair metal bands names, which I'm a big fan of. Tallgren can venture his way over to Dwarf Castle for his second go at Ogopogo. And Garen at least going to go through this cutscene. Probably wants that cane, but at least going to check it out for the boss. Ooh!
I think Tybalt miscounted the amount of Odins. Came out after the fourth Odin rather than... I'm sorry, came out after the third Odin rather than the second. So missed the opportunity to Thunderstrike and is deciding to go do something else.
Yeah, that was a tough break.
A valiant attempt, though. I mean, it's a very difficult strategy to pull off, and he nearly did it. But I'm sure we'll have a much easier time with Odin next time he ventures down the Fate March, if he ever does. That Odin may not actually be required.
That would mean that the Twin Harp is required, most likely.
No. All right, that Odin is required.
Oh, did you see who was attacking Kane in Kaipo Inn? Of course, it was Valvalis.
Ah, good. I mean, yeah. A nice place to find Val at the very least.
Oh, very much so. And don't even need a Dragoon in order to pierce her tornado there.
No,
I believe I saw Sid in the bed.
Okay. So, Garen has, I believe, a white spear for that cane. So Kane can be functional out the gate. Jabrun, should he ever go pick up that cane, had the Avenger. We'll be very happy with it. I'm kind of impressed, or not impressed, but surprised that Tybalt didn't peek into the package. Probably likes his party as is. It's very functional, 2 white mages, a black mage, and a Yang. It's pretty much all you need in order to win the game. But, if there happens to be, I don't know, a Fu or a Cecil or maybe even a Kane, and actually the Kane, it may be worth sitting through.
Well, Tybalt's not going to find out right now. Instead, going to go directly to the harp, and there are 500 harp songs now that get randomized. Here, it's such a great thing to hear the randomized harp song. I know you poo-poo it a little bit, Rybon, but I, for one, am glad whenever anybody makes this music check.
The music is great. Just the length of time for the check is all.
You're right. It should be longer.
Oh, no. Well, I mean, it very well could be. Are you ready for an alt gauntlet at Twin Harp? We'll see who it is in a moment.
Or Golbez, maybe. Anyway, play us a song, you spoony bard.
Well, looks like that twin harp was required after all.
And aren't we all happy for that? We're all happy for that, right?
I'm sure Tybalt and Gieran are both very happy, considering that they have both completed that twin harp, Baron key in hand, and maybe we'll find a functional, youthful character here behind Baron? Let's find out.
Tybalt did check out the package, saw it was Cade, immediately reset. And both Talgrid and Jabrun are in Eblin Castle checking out the trap chest. I don't know. I don't like it. Eblin Castle. It's haunted.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the Eblin Castle play this late. Unfortunately, prior to the music, Jabrun took a wipe against a double Morbull fight, so had to take a second reset out of Sylph Cave, losing all that XP, and decided to try his luck over in Eblin Castle instead.
Did pick up a couple of nice items, a stack of samurai arrows, some box wine, but yeah, not a ton of XP there. And still rocking 3 characters.
Yeah, I wonder if there's a point where Jabrun goes to pick up that Edward. Again, he's not really a youthful character whatsoever on this flag set, with the exception of a curse ring in hand. With a curse ring in hand, he makes a very functional anchor.
Yeah, the cursed ring drops his agility to rock bottom, and you don't need him for anything else. Just need him to stand there and look pretty, and then lie there and look pretty.
Yeah, preferably lying there. Don't want him to gain too much agility after all.
Tybalt working his way through King Queen Eblin, a free fight in the first spot here in Baron Castle, and we'll see if the throne has anybody a little bit more difficult for him.
Yep, the objective is the basement throne and not liberation, so Tybalt will be popping his head back in here first, or shortly after this, but definitely would agree with his routing here. Probably does not have the power to handle every single fight down at the Baron Odin throne, but every fight here should be relatively simple.
Yeah, Dr. Luke here will be a little bit annoying, but ultimately not threatening.
Not threatening, with the exception of talking way too much. Kind of like me.
Yeah, well, the threat level, it's more menace than a threat, I think, or an annoyance. Like, oh, I've already signed up. I've already signed a petition. I don't need to sign it again. Please leave me alone.
Mm-hmm. I'm just trying to shop at Aldi's. Come on, leave me alone.
Well, now the real fight's gonna begin. That's exciting.
Yeah, now the real fight's going to end. Actually, this is a virus. Is it going to kill? It's going to be close.
We'll watch. As Dr. Ligay commands.
At the very least, we'll get some poison walk after this, too.
Yay!
Oh, those are lit arrows. Never mind.
And yeah, that took care of him a lickety-split. Grant going to give that Dwarf Castle another shot. Garen's still looting out Baron Castle. The 3 treasure chests right there. There is a mini treasury in Baron Castle, which on some flag sets is very much worth checking out, but just a little bit too far for T standard.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of looting Baron when you can do so very early. I'm a less of a fan at the hour mark, and I don't think our runners need a whole lot more loot in order to complete this seed. But looting Baron on a push speed to jump feed is a very common and very good play. Also, with that hook in hand, now we can finally turn to that rat tail that Jabrun has, but it looks like Tybalt did not.
Tybalt going to take that hovercraft over, and looks like he does have that rat tail. Yeah, that was from Dwarf Castle.
Shield 1?
Or Sheila 1, you're right. I beg your pardon.
The Tower Key was from Dwarf Castle, I believe.
Yeah.
Yep, they're the rat tail. We get a darkness crystal. Hey, we need that too.
Yes.
Are we in go mode? No, not yet.
Not yet. We need both a legend sword and an adamant. I say we like I'm actually doing anything. I'm just talking.
Yeah, we got the easy job tonight. But Tybalt has pretty much the world his oyster right now. And with 2 free restricted checks available to him, one here in Eblin Cave and one available up on the Lunar Dais, is probably about to find his party to look very different in about 20 minutes, or 5 minutes or so. A Cecil would be outstanding, a Fusoya would be an instant take, even a Tella would open up D-Machine grinds, or the shops here in Eblin or up on the moon could have sirens.
Ooh, Hourglasses and Leviathan. Where are the sirens? They might not exist.
Yeah, they're either on the moon or they are not appearing in this seed. Meanwhile, Jabrun is taking on this Odin headfirst, throwing Lit Tooth, punching with a Thunder Claw, slinging Lit Arrows. Might actually pull this off and does.
Jabrun just with power overwhelming, mercilessly exploiting the elemental weakness. Odin goes down and he gets a pink tail out of it. No adamant armors in this flag set.
No, that pink tail not very valuable at the moment. It's still a high tier item, tier 7 or tier 8, guaranteed on this flag set, but without a hook in hand, can turn it in. And unfortunately for Jabrun, that Odin not being required doesn't necessarily hurt Tybalt, who is fighting a Fusoya right now. But Tybalt, unable to kill that Odin his first time down, has no reason to go back to Feymarch ever again.
Now that will be a last location check for Tybalt, and that will pay off. But that Fusoya hugely helpful to this party, not least because he has exit.
Finally, exit. Finally, a good spell. Finally, as well, our final Ogopogo, I believe, no, not yet. Jabrun still has to do Dwarf Castle, but Tallgrant is through Dwarf Castle, through those Dark Imps, will be rewarded with his tower key and summarily grumbling all the way up the tower the second time.
Garen going to be the first runner to check out the basement throne. Magus Sisters down here, not free.
Thanks, I hate it. If we do have Mute Arrows still on Rosa, this is very doable.
Yeah, but the magic power here very high, as you saw. Rosa does berserk herself, so I believe she does have Mute Arrows on. No, those might be Sammy Arrows. I can't tell.
We're ultimately going to need Rosa to dodge a few Ice Tooth, Lit Tooth, and Viruses here in order to get through this fight, but it's still very possible for Yurin to make it through. Meanwhile, Tybalt is heading down to find his Magus Sisters on the basement throne. We'll probably have an easier time with that Fusoya in tow.
Jabrun takes a wipe to that Octomam, I believe. I'm hoping. I'm hoping he's safe after Odin.
I'm gonna say yes. Looks like it. I don't remember that Yang having 1800 HP during the Odin fight, so should be good.
Should be okay.
And speaking of should be good, Garen should be good with these Magus Sisters. Outcome this quick should kill Sandy. And we'll find out if this is half of our forge or just a dead-end objective.
Yeah, either way, it's going to be required, but it could be doubly required.
Yeah, our last opportunity for a dirty double, and it is to be determined.
Maybe. Go fetch. And Tybalt going to find out the same result soon. And does have Mute Arrows to pair with that Samurai Bow. Well, while our Go
Oh, go
ahead,
ahead,
Rybot.
please. Sheep launcher. Put yourself in Tybalt's shoes. You are completing this location here, Baron Odin Throne. You have a Darkness Crystal in hand. What do you do? Are you going to go chase that Luca key that you're about to get, or are you going to go up to the moon and see what happens to be waiting for you up there?
Yeah, I mean, from where we're sitting, it does seem like the moon is going to have a lot of value tonight. I'm always in favor, especially with a pass in hand, of taking care of the checks you can on the blue planet before taking off to the moon. But the with the fact that you have the Odin down there anyway, maybe you can chain the Luca key in with that. So I think there's a case to be made either way, I think.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll see what our runners select tonight. Meanwhile, Tall Grant is going for round 2 on these cards up here. Does have coffins ready to go this time around, so we'll have a much easier time with these cards. Had a difficult time earlier on. And we'll see if Tall Grant decides to head on down to the Fame March or chase, I believe, the Twin Harp, which will be coming from this tower key. Meanwhile, Jabron as well is doing his darndest against this slow as molasses Octodam. Has the potential to one-shot Rosa in the back, unless Rosa happens to use that Moon Veil. But Rosa's just plinking away.
Gets it done. So, a defense sword will be nice for that Kane. If and Jabron not interested, going to reset. Maybe
May have
use that
Moon
Moon
Veil.
Veil.
Yeah. Tybalt, meanwhile, deciding to chase that Luca key after all. Just saying no to the moon. I've got a foo. I have enough power. Let's not leave any stone unturned. And Luca Cave is a big stone to leave unturned, being a K main location.
Yes, and the good thing about it is you can check out the key item before committing to fighting the boss. Although Demas still has not been found. So might be worth sticking around, even if the item isn't to your liking. Might be worth sticking around to see if there's a dreaded Demas down here.
Mm-hmm. And there are some really nasty chains that we could see coming from this Luca Cave. Tybalt can finish Luca Cave, find an Earth Crystal, chase that Earth Crystal, find a pan, chase that pan, find a spoon, and everything's actually on the moon. And that would be terrible. Let's see if that's what we get.
It's terrible. I love it.
It's terrible. It's a pan. It's what I said, reverse maybe.
Go fetch!
You have no choice. You have to chase that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. You can't give up on it now. And going to heal up in order to face whoever is at this spot. A vanilla evil wall would not be fun. It's an all Gauntlet.
Do you like the song Run from Final Fantasy IV? Do you like it enough to hear it for like the next 5 minutes? Luckily for us, luckily for chat, we are listening to Garen instead of Tybalt right now.
I think if you listen to the Run song for long enough, like it starts to permanently affect your blood pressure.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if there's ever been any remixes of Run. Maybe like a Nightcore mix, or maybe like, a electro wave mix, lo-fi Run to help you sleep.
Or like a minor key melancholy mix on piano.
Cubs pointing out there is indeed a harp mix here in this game, done, I believe, by Xenocat. Thanks, I hate it.
Well, do you like vampire bats?
I love vampire bats. Vamp ladies have too much HP.
And what are they hanging from? Is the ceiling really right there? That's a very low ceiling.
I mean, we are in a cave. It could be like a basement.
Be
But yeah, look at all the HP on this vamp lady, taking punches left and right, staying up, delaying, slowly making Tybalt wonder why he even came down here.
And Tybalt is probably muttering under his breath, this pad needs to pay out. Got a lot riding on this one, man. I need it to come through.
Fortunate for Tybalt, Garen is retracing his steps right now, taking out the Odin and the Octomam, most likely, down here in the Feymarsh, so buying a little bit of time back.
Well, while we do have our runners kind of retracing each other's steps, do want to thank our restreamer, CubsRule21, and our tracker, the Bardic Panda. And thank you, Rybon, for joining me tonight in the booth. It's always fun hanging out with you on a Friday night to get all the knowledge from the Red Moon Waxing FF5 champion.
Thanks for keeping me in check as well. It's always great to come out and commentate a community race or two as well. And one thing I've noticed is that we've been having a lot of rehashing or revisiting of a lot of the old tournament flag sets. We got Fabul Gauntlet this week. We had World Series of Free Enterprise just a couple of weeks ago. I'm kind of digging this trend we have going on. Maybe like Scala, the admin team, haven't announced what next week's community races are going to be. But if we get a revisit of, say, Lolly Ho League, that'd be pretty cool. I'm looking forward to whatever is coming next Monday.
And that's definitely something you got to check out at 8 p.m. Eastern next Monday. I wonder if this is all kind of preparing us for a new tournament to be announced for the spring. That'd be something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, absolutely. I am not a pink name or a green name or affiliated with the admins whatsoever, but we're getting pretty close to tournament season. From what I've heard through the rumor mill, there will be a tournament announcement soon, TM. Soon, TM, of course, means anytime in the next 2 to 5 months, or 1 month or 1 week, or anything like that. But I'm definitely looking forward to it.
TM. It's always a wonderful time in the community when new tournament flags get announced, and it is always nice to kind of revisit the tournament flags from yesteryear to kind of revisit old strats and remember if this was your first tournament, remember why you kind of fell in love with Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise.
Yeah, well, this certainly wasn't my first tournament. Was it yours, Sheep?
It was. I did see some World Series of Free Enterprise. I was kind of watching on YouTube at this point. This occurred kind of at the beginning in 2020. Kind of straddled the beginning of the pandemic. So, especially for the championship. I had some time on my hand and was able to catch really some great top tier level play, which is still available on YouTube. Tybalt does make it through that alt gauntlet, and I believe I believe the Fabul Gauntlet was actually the first tournament where the alt gauntlet was introduced.
That must have been a bit of a shock to all the runners. Going from a relatively easy encounter of regular gauntlet to, hey, here is an alt gauntlet with evil mass down at the Mothman altar.
Yeah, too bad we can't guarantee them every single time.
Or can we? Dun dun dun. Coming in Free Enterprise 5.0, fourth alt gauntlet everywhere. I am not actually, I'm not promising that because I have no idea, but I think it'd be a pretty cool flag. I should put it into the, the suggestion box.
Also in the suggestion box, more harp songs. Let's hear some more harp.
That is harp rendition number 3 down. Tall Grant will be awarded his bearing key and progression through the seed. Meanwhile, Tybalt is about to show whether or not this pen was worth it or not.
And did you see what he got from the Sylphs? That-
I didn't.
Yeah, I don't think it was anything important. I think it was a white shirt or something.
That's very important. That Bahamut summon, far less important. This all gauntlet down here in Luca Cave, not required.
Required. Moon time.
And also, I think we mentioned it in chat, but for those of you watching on YouTube, we did notice Tybalt, calling out Cubs, demonstrating how much he loves him and appreciates him as a restreamer and a seed roller. So Tybalt, we see you and we appreciate it just as much as you appreciate Cubs.
We also did see Jaybrun picking up that cane. Now, Jaybrun has had an Avenger twice and lost it twice, so he might know where to get it back, but also does not have the defense sword for Kane either.
I mean, you know what they say, third time is the charm.
We'll see if he wants to head back in.
Yeah, I'd be definitely tempted to do so if I was Jaybrun. Just go directly to that chest and no other chest and pick that up and then, let Kane go burr for the remainder of the seed because, it's a very strong weapon. Is that a Cecil, by the way, in the bed? No, that's...
Oh.
It? No, it can't be. We've already done ordeals. I guess it must be a Sid.
Yeah, I thought I saw a Sid there earlier.
That was a DKC.
Was that DKC? Wow.
Jaybrun really hasn't done ordeals yet? Huh.
119 in, still hasn't done it.
Wild.
Gonna check out the waterfall. We know that he's gonna see a whole bunch of leg. And quickly reset. And Tybalt, the first of our restreamed runners to the moon, going to check out the Hummingway shop. Will there be sirens up here, or do we have a sirenless seed?
And notably, too, raising the big whale was one of our objectives, objective number 2. So Tybalt, the first one to do that. Hello, no sirens.
No sirens, a very late foo. Just a real slog to to get the levels.
Yeah, so we definitely have a number of options for grind on Tybalt's side, and all of our runners really. D machines are an option if you really want to do that. Doors are an option. Otherwise, trap chest, silk cave, which Jbrun demonstrated earlier, definitely an option. Or just taking these moon bosses up here and hoping you find, I believe, a 10th key item, because I'm counting a grand total of 9 for Tybalt at the moment.
Yeah, I believe you. I count 10 for Tybalt.
Not including the pass.
Not including the pass. Hook, Darkness, Twin Harp package. All 4 keys.
Okay,
Yep.
got it. All right, then yeah, moon bosses definitely are the play here. Find the Rydia on that lunar altar. Takes the Rydia too. Did get that Bahamut from the pan turn in. Though I'm not sure if Rydia is actually going to see play here or just ends up being a very glorified anchor.
Yeah, Rydia starts off at level 1. Can definitely do the job as an anchor. Might be a little too late to start to level her up into something that does damage.
Yeah, and Cub the Rule pointing out in chat as well. Dismissed his previous anchor, Tybalt did, which had the cursed ring, did not take it. So Rydia is pretty much going to have to be the anchor going forward because there's no way to curse her at the moment unless we go back to the Tower of Wishes and pull that cursed ring off of, was it Edward? Sid? One of the two?
Yeah, that was Edward who had the curse ring off.
Oh, in the inventory menu. Never mind, that curse ring's gone. I think they were for sale in Mist Village, but
yes,
that's too far away. Let's just keep on clearing the moon.
Yeah. Well, that's gone.
No, you're supposed to drop the magma key down the well, not the cursed ring.
Oh man, I always dropping the wrong things down the well.
That's another flag suggestion I've heard. Be able to throw any item you want down the well. And then it appeared in like a dwarf lost and found, if it happens to be a key item.
Jbrun's prayers have been unanswered, but if you were praying for one more rendition of that beautiful harp song, then your prayers will be answered.
I mean, some songs are so good you need to hear them 4 times. But Edward's fingers must be bleeding by this point. Also, Demist.
Yeah, Demist in the ribbon room. So this is 3 potential key item checks. It's possible that this boss will do it for Tybalt.
But first, music. No more harp. It is done. Edward, take a bow, take a break, get onto my seed, get back into bed. I don't care. Jbrun, congratulations on your Baron key, and my goodness, this Demus is still going.
It's a really long Demus fight. Thank you, Jabron, for your service there. I do like how Jabron's Edward was named Winger, so Winger was performing that song.
I actually don't know a single song that Winger made. But hopefully they had a harp player.
Probably not, although they would have really rocked an electric harp, I want to say. And so this Demus, always a slog in this spot, just so much HP.
Yeah, 45k HP here at this particular location. Food's nuking, which is great, but it's hitting for like 5 or 6k, so it's going to take way more nuke than he had MP for to actually drop his Demus.
Yeah, now's the time to spend the ethers you have, if you have any.
But Demus goes down. That's a nice 200,000 experience for all of the characters remaining. Cubs role-playing as Yon gets nothing. You get nothing. Good day, sir. But here's an Avenger and a Sand Ruby. You want a Cecil?
Not now.
No, we've been doing this for an hour and a half nearly.
By the way, still 0 finishers. So this is a kind of a slog of a seed for everyone. It started out looking really, really jetty, and since then the key items have just kind of dried up.
Yeah, I believe I heard someone say, back when we started playing this for community races, that the average finish time for a Fabul Gauntlet seed was around like 130, 140. But it looks like this one is especially trolly. Thank you, Cubs. And it's going to take quite a bit longer than that.
Yeah, and with 2 kind of key items outstanding, what chaining key items are left? It's really just the Earth Crystal that's left. So, Tybalt's up on the moon for the long haul. I don't foresee a situation where Tybalt would be tempted to go chase that Earth Crystal.
Yeah, definitely not. I think Tybalt is here, and he's here to stay until he's pretty much forced out, or until he finds the 2 key items he needs. But the bright side is that Tybalt found that Demus in Rhythm Room. Demus is not hiding, down at King Queen Evelyn, hiding down at Giant 2 or anything like that. So we don't have that, wrinkle or that loose thread out there trying to slow us down.
Although that Demus does have a key item check, could be a Legend Sword.
Definitely.
Garen going top down in the lunar subterranean and finds Mylon hanging out with all of Mylon's friends. Planning a Super Bowl party, maybe?
I wonder if they prefer the Eagle or the Chiefs.
Yeah, I'm sure Mylon really appreciates Patrick Mahomes' play, as most people do, but I think a guy who complains about his body and wears a shawl, that screams a Philadelphia Eagles fan to me.
So I think Mylon may be a Chiefs fan, but when he turns to Mylon Z, he's more of an Eagles fan because he's actually flying.
Yeah, true. Quake does not work against Mylon Z or Eagles fans. Their center of gravity real low.
Mm-hmm. No tectonic plate that I'm aware of over Philadelphia, so should be good. D-Lunar's down here at the Moth Immune Altar. That is not fun.
No. Jabron picking up his Sid and taking Sid over Yang. another interesting play here. And Garen has one half of the forge. Garen is one key item away from go mode.
Huh. It very well could be that Tybalt is chasing nothing down here at the bottom of Moon. Maybe Giran pivots over to cave value, doing the entirety top of the Moon right now. Find that legend sword. That's going to be a huge, benefit for Giran.
That legend sword could still be at the crystal sword altar. Could be in cave value.
It looks like we're going down to LST.
Yeah, going to continue with the top-down approach. It looks like, although maybe we'll skip directly to the bottom from here.
Mm-hmm. Now, there's an interesting situation here. Let's say you're Tybalt. You have that D mist waiting to check. And here at the Mothmune altar, you find the legend sword. You'd probably be very tempted, at least I would be very tempted, to go save scum that D mist, which would cost a bit of time. And be absolutely terrible, too, if that D mist had the Earth Crystal and you go chase that instead of finishing the Moon.
Yeah, it's just all kinds of traps up here.
I certainly hope Cubs didn't do that to Tybalt. Cubs wouldn't do that to Tybalt, would he?
I wouldn't put anything past Cubs at this point. Now, if you were running this, Rybon, you're creeping up on the hour-and-a-half mark, and you're past the hour-and-a-half mark. The key items have been really kind of tucked away. Are you nervous? What's kind of your approach when you're trying to decide whether to chase or whether to follow the Moon through to its conclusion?
I think ultimately, if I was Tybalt, I would finish the Moon. Not just because, there's checks up here that could be the key items you need, but also because you need XP. You're going to have a hard time getting through the Roman with the level that you currently have. I'm not sure if that Rotha knows white yet, but that Palom certainly does not know nuke. And if you're trying to do a reflect strat party, your best way to get XP would be to finish up the Moon, maybe get 100 K XP from this location, 100 K XP from that location, maybe push Palom all the way to nuke, or at least Yang to a sizable amount of HP so that he could potentially do some kind of like hybrid strat or something like that. But, finding go mode right now without sirens available, you might be scratching your head wondering, do I have enough power to do the Romas in a safe and timely manner? Womp womp. That's an arty bow.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it for the XP, but definitely not the item he needs. And meanwhile, Garen onto D-Mist. And Garen being one key item away, we'll see if he gets tempted. Brun completing his Baron Castle. Tallgrant, meanwhile, on Leviathan up here on the Lunar Subterrane. And Tybalt will mark our first venture to the Crystal Sword Altar.
At this point, who do you think's in the lead? Is it Tybalt, Garen, Tallgrant?
Yeah, I think it's between Tybalt and Garen. We know, and it's going to depend really if Garen gets called away. But we know Tybalt is working his way to that adamant and is on his way to making another check. So I think Tybalt has the advantage here.
Yeah, I would generally agree. Tybalt's completed more checks up here on the Moon. One advantage that Garen may have, however, is that Garen picked up that cane, has 2 Zerkers, and with Bacchus available would have an easy time doing Zerker strats, not necessarily needing a lot or a significant amount of XP to engage the Romus, whereas Tybalt may feel a little more compelled to get a bit of a grind on the way. And Tybalt does not want to deal with that gold bed right now, probably wants to prepare, throw a piggy up, throw minis up to try to better control who gets killed or who's able to throw up a Star Veil against these gold beds. But one interesting note here that at this Crystal Sword altar, the magic is quite low. For the most part, Golbez is not going to be a danger to any of these level characters right now. So should be pretty happy and pretty safe at this location.
Yeah, Golbez. There are lots of worse places for Golbez to be. The only thing more laughable than Golbez himself is Golbez's magic power. I hope you're ready for double digits of magic damage.
Dozens of damage.
Like maybe 1 or 2 dozens. Oh, the real terror. We might actually see a miss from Shadow here. That's how low the magic power is.
J-Brun had launched his whale. That is all 4 of our runners restreamed tonight with 4 of 5 objectives complete. So it is a race. Who can find that final legend sword to make this all come together?
Yeah, and that is one of the really fun things about this flag set. It's a kind of high completion flag set. When you have to do all 5 of the objectives, there's really no way to cheese it. You got to do everything.
Yep, absolutely. Time for these dozens of damage. 387. Oh no, please Golbez, don't cough on me. But did at least leave 2 good characters up, Fu and Palom both capable of casting Fire 3, doing likely quad 9s against his Golbez here, or close enough to get through this fight rather quickly. And we will see if this is what we want from Golbez, or maybe something that Tibble ends up chasing like an Earth Crystal. But an interesting note is that this is not exactly the boss Tibble wanted to see here. He wants XP. He wants that Palom to eventually know Nuke, if possible, before the Thromas fight. And Golbez comes with something called reduced XP because Shadow disappeared and takes a chunk of the XP that would be granted at this location away.
Yeah, it's kind of not fair that Shadow retreats and takes all the takes a bunch of XP with him, but yeah, we are just left to question why, just like Golbez, who fades away.
Golbez always full of questions. Also, notably, J-Brun dropped that cane that he sat through the package for Iridia. It's an interesting choice. And that spoon is utterly useless.
And J-Brun heading to Cave Value. Is there value in Cave Bahamut?
Mm-hmm.
There's always value in Cave Bahamut.
There are 2 key item checks remaining. Well, 3. There's Tower of Zot, there is Cave Value, and there is that D-Mist, Iridia's mom, waiting for you to go poke her while she's sunbathing to, give you potentially a key item.
Hey, Mom.
Mom.
Can I...
Meatloaf.
Can I have an item, please? What do you say? Please.
Now. Hey, that's Water Hag.
Yep, we already know it's not the Gauntlet. Water Hag, kind of the last quote-unquote free boss that we could encounter.
Free, quotation mark. Water Hag hits really hard here.
Yes. Most enemies do, but Water Hag does, especially will get a couple of shots off against the wrong characters. It could be really disruptive.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll get that virus off quickly and should be home free.
Yeah, interesting too. J-Brun is not dropping the Iridia, so it looks like we're going to try to get XP on this Iridia. Maybe an attempt to get her all the way to nuke, or at least virus. Virus would make her kind of usable up here on the moon.
Has to sit through the resume building portion.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Okay.
Well, the Legend Sword is on the blue planet somewhere. We know that for sure.
Either behind that Earth Crystal or Rydia's mom.
What a scene. Jabrun going back to the whale and is going to finish up moon business. Not going to chase. Still has 2 key items outstanding, so it's certainly understandable.
Yeah, definitely. Jabrun's going to have a little bit of a challenge with his moon, however. He doesn't exactly have levels on most of his characters to make it easy. So this Mylon at Murasame, for example, would be a challenge. That Golbez, maybe not. The D-Lunar that Masamune definitely would be a challenge. Challenge enough for Gurren that he takes a reset here, unfortunately. Maybe choosing to take that Avenger off. Definitely don't blame that choice.
Yeah. Avenger will make those Lunars not happy.
They immediately begin, coughing on you, and that's just not cool.
Yeah, well, they cough on each other, and like it bounces off of them and onto you, and it's just unsanitary all the way around. Tybalt has his adamant.
All right, so Tybalt choosing to not save Scum Rydia's mom, which is an interesting choice. That's a much quicker check than checking here at K value. But being very thorough, has been very thorough this entire seed, minus that Odin that he has faded for quite a while now. That could actually come into play. Say, it ends up being that Earth Crystal has the Legend Sword. I wonder if it's on the back of Tybalt's mind. That Odin is really quick, really free right now, and maybe even faster than doing that. Do I go do that? Or do I chase this Earth Crystal that I'm going to find here behind this water hag?
Metagaming is always a really dangerous game to play, but do you feel like Tybalt feels Odin doesn't have anything because we're an hour 42 in now? Still no finishers. And if something were available behind Odin, we'd see some movement on that front.
He may be metagaming like that. He may also just think that it's been a very difficult season for everybody. And if he hasn't necessarily, had luck down there on Odin, other people likely had trouble with that Odin as well. At the same time, too, Tybalt may not necessarily feel ahead right now. He may just feel behind. But, doesn't care. He did take time to rename his characters to show his appreciation of Cubs.
Yep.
So, is willing to just keep on chasing what's ahead of him. He may also just be of the thought, too, that, if there is something behind that Odin, I've already lost. So I'm just going to chase what's available to me, which is that Earth Crystal, which is Rydia's mom.
Now, do you remember that the very first boss Tybalt faced on the moon was that D-Mist? So it's not inconceivable that he could forget about it. But Tybalt really, really on top of things, going to check out Rydia's mom first.
Tybalt demonstrating the mastery of his memory, bothered Rydia's sunbathing mom here in the Village Mist, and is rewarded with a Legend Sword or garbage. Garbage.
Aw.
Here, take this apple. Leave me alone.
Aw, apple. That's what it was. Aw, apple. All right.
Tybalt. Where are we going?
Time to go to the Earth Crystal.
That Odin's really quick. You want to go do the Odin? No, you don't want to go do the Odin.
Nope. In the neighborhood. Time to go to Troya.
So this is a parking ticket. Tybalt's going to find this out in about 5 or 6 minutes.
Yep. And gonna have to take the long walk.
Yep.
Through the woods.
Swagabo.
Over the river and through the woods to Troya Castle we go. We parked the whale in the only spot.
Oh, that reminds me. Sheep launcher. I have a question for you.
Yes.
Where do you go when you want to weigh a pie?
Where do I go? Where do you go when you want to weigh a pie? I don't know, Rybon. Where do you go when you want to weigh a pie?
You know, somewhere over the rainbow. Remember the song, right? Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high.
Ah. Yeah.
Yep. These jokes are going to keep on coming the closer we get to 2 hours. So
Yes.
for
We're losing the very the frayed edges of what humanity we had.
it is way past my bedtime. So please.
Dark Elf up here in Tower of Zot. No enemies up here that will give Tybalt any kind of heartburn.
No, I can't think of anything remaining in the sea that is going to give Tybalt any trouble whatsoever. And I think at about 1900 HP, we got, nuke on that kid. Or if we don't, we will after we are done with this tower. So Tybalt's going to have everything he needs to do safe reflect strats against the Romus. And really, it's just pretty much, at least for the Restream Racers, his race to lose right now.
Pellet up here.
We can D-Machine now.
Yeah. If we need any more levels.
I mean, we could D-Machine before.
Right.
But we can also D-Machine now.
We used to be able to, but we can now too.
It's an edge. Hey, we can use that spoon.
Yes. And that Masamune power shirt that we've had since the beginning of the game, basically, can finally be useful.
There's kind of an argument to drop that Yang, take that edge, because Yang is going to do nothing more than throw up a Star Veil and look pretty. Edge can dart a spoon, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that Yang does have the big advantage in HP, can tank a couple of full-powered Big Bangs if everything does go sideways on that Zeramus fight.
Yeah, here's the Evil Wall at Zot 2. This spot's not too punchy. Even if we didn't have, a boatload of levels right now, wouldn't really be a risk. So Tybalt's just, it's all over except for the crying from the wall. I'm not even sure if the wall has tear ducts.
It looks like, you've got to have some way for the wall to kind of slough off, run off. And the wall comes tumbling down, and the wall comes crumbling, and Tybalt will get his legend sword. Get his legend sword now. And then
Tybalt's really going to hope this is the legend sword, because it could be a pink tail Tybalt. It could be. Could be behind that Odin.
Yeah, you don't know. You don't know, do you?
Nope. Tybalt is clueless, but Tybalt is breathing a sigh of relief right about now. Go mode for Tybalt.
Any reason you would stop in the Forge shop here on T standard or on S standard?
Precisely two things: life staffs and Tybalt, where are you going? Life staffs and Stardust Rod. Potentially crystal rings as well.
And
oh, he doesn't have nuke. Maybe he used a. He may have used an apple to increase the HP of Palom, because Palom would normally have nuke at 1900 HP. But remember that there's a trap chest here, taking it with a quake, and we'll have nuke on the kid, and now Reflex Draft will be enabled.
Heads up play.
Oh, maybe not.
Ooh, did not get to nuke.
Oh, he had
Oh, he
nuke.
has
Level
nuke.
53. What? Tibble, what are you doing? He's just swagging. He's like, I could have done these trap checks the entire time, and I'm just proving it to you that I could, but I didn't. Maybe he'll swag and take Odin too while he's down here.
That might be a little bit too far. And Tibble will visit the cabin on the edge of the world here. Going to give Coco the good news. Hooray! Jump, jump, jump.
He's very springy for a man of his age. He must do like yoga or CrossFit or something.
Crystal rings for sale, and he bought a bunch.
And a cool X-Cal that we will not be using.
No. But we will be using that crystal.
Absolutely. The true reward. Garen, meanwhile, get the bad news. There's just a gold apple here. Let's go to the Tower of Zot. Unfortunately, appears to be about a good 4 to 5 minutes behind Tybalt. So right now, Tybalt's race to lose, as mentioned, but Garen definitely could, make a comeback if Tybalt happens to take a wipe. And also, Tybalt had one additional thing to deal with here. He parked illegally at Troya. And the Troya police are very, very good.
Now, I don't think that the woods outside of Troya will make him lose 4 to 5 minutes, but, maybe he takes a wrong turn at a particular tree.
Maybe he stops to smell the roses or something like that. He sees the trees and not the forest, or he swag bows. He understands. He did something wrong, but this is one way to avoid the parking ticket.
Yep, you just take a black chocobo, which, if you don't know, black chocobos don't show up in that forest until after you complete the Tower of Zod, I believe?
Either the Tower of Zod or the Twin Harp, I'm not sure. But
yeah, normally there are just white and yellow chocobos there, but a black chocobo shows up after that story beat. And Tybalt is on his way to Zeromus at just after 152. Still 0 finishers. Tybalt looking for first place overall among the 9 racers, and we have a question to ask Rybon.
Yes, we do. What is that question?
That question is, of all of the different sprites that Zeromus could be, which one will he be?
Oh. We could spice that question up a little bit, maybe change it to which sprite are we going to defeat? Or I don't know, maybe something a little less modest, a little more rude.
all right. Let's be a little punchier. Whose butt are we gonna kick tonight?
Yeah, that'll do. I think that has wings. That has staying power.
Does it have a hat? Is it cute?
Will it help with my taxes? By the way, tax season, tax day is about 2 months away. Watch out.
Yeah, I would not trust most of the Z sprites to help with your taxes, but who knows? Maybe there's a tax slayermus.
Maybe he's here right now in this room with us. Who could it be? It's
not.
Huh. Charomas. Is this a Xenogears thing? I don't know.
Is that a giant hammer?
Maybe.
What is that?
It's like Rock'em Sock'em Robots? Oh, Gundam.
Gundam.
Okay. And Japanese Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
How about that targeting onto Rydia? Rydia's 30 HP. That Big Bang that counter nuke just a little bit too much for her.
He almost had it.
Good try.
Yeah, Fu demonstrating he's nice and all, but not that great. That seemed like an early shake. I don't know. I think Tybalt definitely has this, but I wonder what his battle speed is.
You never can be 100% confident. This is still a final boss.
Mm-hmm. No, he's definitely on battle speed 3. He's fine. Giran, meanwhile, gets his Legend Sword. So maybe in the Z fight at a similar time as Tybalt finishing up, assuming that nothing goes awry on this side. With that nerf Big Bang, there should be no issue for Tybalt. Out comes the white, another nuke is queued, and we're probably about 2 or 3 additional spells beyond this upcoming nuke from Victory.
Yeah, Tybalt going to put the finishing touches on this. A very nice, effective, clean Z fight.
With whatever you do, Yang, do not punch him. I know you want to.
Y'all, just let me punch him. Just want to punch him.
When you're a hammer like Yang is, every problem looks like a nail, but that is a robot. That is not a nail. Do not punch it.
Here comes another nuke.
And that is the final nuke.
That does it. Tybalt finishes in first place with a time of 1:56:33, and I believe Cubs Rule is now Tybalt's favorite person in the whole world.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what that means.
Let's see if we can get Tybalt in here for an interview and tell us how much he appreciates Cubs and all the seeds that he rolls for not just Tybalt, but this entire community.
Yes, I think we will hear nothing but maleficent praise.
Yep, Tybalt is very gregarious in his praise, and should be here momentarily. I see him over in the other Wraith channel, and here he is. Tybalt, how do you feel about Cubs right now?
Oh no! Why Cubs? You stick the pan behind Alt Gauntlet. It's not even required.
Cubs gave you that win, Tybalt. I think you'd be more grateful.
I didn't even need you, Luca.
Tybalt, you got nearly 2 hours of fantastic free enterprise experience. I mean, you should be a little more grateful for Cubs.
That early game was rough, though.
What was your favorite part of it?
Well, the second attempt at Oga was kind of nice. The fact that I got through it. But I was hoping for sirens. Pop a couple sirens, get Quake on the kid, and I'll be fine. No Quake. Not fine. But I'll take a heroin robe Rosa. That's fine. So many heroin robes.
That was a seed with everything you need, just all over the place. The decision I really wanted to ask you about was when you had both the Darkness Crystal and the Luca Key. How did you decide what to chase first?
So, I was hoping. Okay, so Luca Key, at that point, I'm looking for 2 key obs. Either I'm looking for 2 pieces of Forge. I've got Luca, and I have the Odin. And I'm like, if it's on Earth, if Forge is on Earth, I can just raise the whale after doing Trap Chest and Sylph, and I can just go directly to Z with the pass. I don't have to worry about going to the moon at all. Let's go check Luca and see if I get half a Forge. I find the pan, I'm like, that gate's 2 key items. I have to walk this out. And then I'm faced with the alt down, and I'm like, I so badly want to reset right now, but 2 key items. That gauntlet is terrible.
It at least got you to 10 key items for your eventual grind on the moon, right?
Let's see. It turned into a white shirt and a Bahamut, so it was literally just in key item. no camping gear except for tents throughout the seed. So I'm like, all right, fine, I'll go down to the bottom first because, I only got tents. Let's get the hard stuff out of the way. Oh, hi, Demist. Oh boy. If I find one half of the forge, I may save Scum Demist. But alas, it was like one of the last items I found on the moon.
Yeah, that is one thing I was wondering. When you did eventually find that adamant without that legend sword in hand, I was wondering if you were considering heading down the safe, coming that Iridia's mom check, rather than finishing up the moon and checking K value. Did that ever cross your mind?
Yes, and it came down to one particular thing. It depended on who was at K value. If it was Val there, I'm back on Earth and I'm doing Meridia's mom and the Odin. Because the only damage I really had was Rosa and Yang for that Val. They had nothing but mages. I'd rather get through two fights really quickly, or one fight and Demas check, and just reset back up to the moon. It hurts, but, it's a 1 in 3 shot. I can either do two things quick or one thing slow. Which is better.
Makes perfect sense. And additionally, speaking of Val, we did happen to see her. She was guarding Kane at the package. And you did check that package, I believe. Was there any intention? You reset pretty quickly, so I assume not. But was there any, interest in Kane or going Zerker whatsoever?
Well, the only way I was going to go Zerker is if I saw Cecil. Or maybe an edge that early, because I had defense sword, I had great edge gear. Kane, I'm like, I got Rosa with heroine robe, samurai bow, and I'm good. That's all you really need for the early game. It's you, Cecil, Fu, and Edge were the 3 people that I would have taken from that early package. And only those 3 with the party I had.
Oh, perfect sense to me, and you clearly did very well with the mage that you had nonetheless. Even, swagging a little bit on that final trap chest in the Filth Cave before forging. I think you already had Nuke at that point on Palom, so what were you looking for there?
That's exact. I missed Palom getting Nuke. Probably from the Zot 2. I didn't see Nuke, so I'm like, oh, he doesn't have Nuke. I gotta go get that. Let me go do the one trap chest, and he got a level. I'm like, he should be at 52 now. Oh, he's 53. Okay, never mind.
A little safer after all.
Yeah, I was just looking for that final level for Nuke, and I already had it, so safety level.
Well, the last question I had for you, Tybalt, is what was your experience with the original Fabul Gauntlet tournament and flags, and what do you think of this flag set?
So this actually brings me back to when I first started playing Free Enterprise, and let me tell you, I've learned a lot since then. I was doing the bracket flags at about 4 hours to 4.5 hours per seed. And, I would do the Swiss at about 2.5 to 3, so at least I've increased somewhat there. But the original tournament, I did not place very well. I think I had 1 win out of 4. But I know I've definitely come a long way, and I thoroughly enjoyed this. We always said that this is one of the flag sets that's an ease into Free Enterprise. A lot of the flag sets we've had for our off-season tournament, like Lolly Ho, Fabul Gauntlet, or even Adamant Cup, are great for new beginners.
Yeah, well, we are really excited to see how much you've progressed and how much the community has progressed as well. Rybot, anything else for Tybalt?
One last parting question, Tybalt. You did mention that, you're a fan of the off-season tournaments, not just the mid-zone tournaments, but, Adamant Cup, Fabul Gauntlet, Lolly Ho League. We're pretty much approaching tournament season, I believe, for this upcoming spring. Not sure when it's going to be announced, but how much are you looking forward to that particular tournament, and are you planning on participating?
I plan to participate in every future tournament if I'm available to. I've always enjoyed Free Enterprise since I decided to dive into it, and hopefully one of these times I'll be able to take a championship. Maybe beat you in a tournament, or Possum, or Pancras. All the top tier players.
Well, I'm rooting for you. But that's pretty much all the questions I had. Do you have any final thoughts before we let you go tonight?
No, just Cubs. Why? Why did you do this to us? But Cubs, thanks for rolling this wonderful, wonderful air quotes scene. Thanks to you, Ivan, and Sheep Launcher for doing the commentary. I bet there's a lot of interesting things that I may be able to learn from watching this back. And then, of course, the Bardic Panda doing the tracking. We couldn't put the show on without you.
And thank you, Tybalt, once again. GG's to our first place finisher, Tybalt.
GG's. Have a good one.
You too, Tybalt.
And in second place, Rex Banner finished with a time of 1:57:25. GG's to Rex. And in third place, on stream, with a time of 2:05:17, it's Garen. And we will see if Garen will come in for an interview. We are joined now by Garen, our third place finisher. GG's.
Thank you.
So that was a really rocky seed. What were your thoughts when the early game came? You had 3 characters, and your choices were Keyless Tower, Dwarf Castle, or Feymarch bosses.
It was a good thing the top of tower was relatively easy compared.
Yeah,
I mean, I saw it was in the Feymarch. That was terrible. The Dwarf Castle wasn't great. So it's like,
kind of the least bad option there, even though Baron Guards up there could have been a little tricky.
Reduce arrows were not working very well, unfortunately.
So you and Tybalt kind of hit the moon, kind of one right after the other, and you found the adamant kind of early on because you went top down. What was your thought process once you found the adamant? Were you ever going to think of chasing anything on the blue planet?
I debated it, but probably not.
Why not? What was your thought process there?
I figured it was going to go 17 out of 17 regardless, so at that point I just wanted to finish the moon, make sure I didn't miss anything.
Makes perfect sense to me. Garen, I have one question for you myself. You did something quite different than Tybalt. You sat through that package and picked up that cane. What was the reasoning behind that? Did you have a particular item for him? Do you really want to use that white spear? Or are you more comfortable, for example, using berserkers rather than mages?
Well, I knew I had a white spear, and I still didn't have a full party, so I wanted to get somebody.
Oh, that's right. You didn't pick up that Edward, I think, on Hobbs, right?
Yeah, I mean, when you've got Palom, you really don't need him to anchor. I didn't really want to carry deadweight the whole seed.
As Edward normally is, so yeah, perfectly understandable there.
Yeah, the spoon flag wasn't even on.
No, it isn't, and Swoon didn't come early anyways. I will say, I've never gotten so much use out of lit arrows in the seed before. That was kind of fun.
Yeah, I believe
definitely. That Odin down in Feymarch definitely was very vulnerable to him.
Yeah, and they were available for sale somewhere in the shop. But so what was the trolliest part of this seed for you?
I think the trolliest part for me was you had heroin, but no good arrows to buy that I saw.
Yeah, the kind of S standard doing its work. I guess mute arrows were the best you could find in a shop, along with those lit arrows.
Yeah, I
Well,
kept
right
looking,
about-
but nothing else was there.
Well, Garen, one last question for you before you get to your final thoughts. If you could describe the seed in one word, what would it be?
One word, huh?
It could be a hyphenated word if you want it to be.
And it can't be beep.
It does have to be PG-13, however. I know it's past midnight. It's technically free enterprise after dark, but I did see Scala in chat.
Sorry, the brain is not working tonight at this point.
It makes perfect sense after a 2-hour seed, thanks, Cubs. But, you know, your that your hesitation said everything. It's like the seed was too much to describe in one word.
It's probably one of the most painful magma seeds I've ever run.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
true.
right.
It wasn't even a hook route.
That was a lost opportunity, Cubs. Could have had that. Could have given us a hook route too.
All right, well, GG's to you, Garen, coming in third place. It was a really fine run and well done. Thanks so much for being featured.
All right, thanks, guys.
Yeah, have a good one. I'll see you over on the ladder.
And Judge Joe finishes in fourth place with a time of 2:06:25. GG's to Judge Joe. And so Tallgrant vanquishing Odin, and Jaybrun up on the tower himself.
Yep. Tall Grant unfortunately doesn't appear to have the Earth Crystal in tow, so likely faded cave value as a result. And instead, down here in Fame March, clearing the Odin, clearing the Fame March spots, is not going to find pay dirt here, unfortunately. Does appear to have all the levels he needs, however, so that's an advantage for Tall Grant. But yeah, he's a whole Zot and cave value behind Jaybrun, vying for third place on Reestern tonight.
Yeah, he does have that adamant rock, so he did pick that up. At least
I can't really
according.
blame him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like. I love fading cave value. It's a cave summon spot. You had 2 cave summon spots down here in Fey March waiting to be done. You have, double the chance of finding the legend sword down here than you do behind cave value. So it's a numbers play. It's just not going to work out for Tall Grant tonight, I'm afraid.
Well, Jaybrun has his piece of the forge. And so we were talking earlier about the kind of the place that this flag set has in Final Fantasy for the free enterprise, that this was kind of the first tournament introduction to the Gauntlet. What besides that, Rybon, what do you think really sets this flag set apart from other tournament flag sets?
I think it being I just compare it to things like Adamant Cup, which I think is an easier flag set than Fabul Gauntlet. The mixture of T standard, definitely, just throwing T standard into the mix and turning Adamant off and turning the spoon flag off really removes a lot of options for players. So it's a really interesting comparison for me to look at more modern or more recent spring tournament flag sets, and I see them actually, a little easier than this initial, objective tournament flag set from 3 years ago. It's pretty interesting, and one additional comparison I could make too is that there's just so much more knowledge floating around the community right now. I don't know if, D machine manipulation or grinds were a thing back then, or, Simbu or the other, big brains of the community developed the Mac Giant chart or anything like that. So that may be an option for players today. I'm not sure if D machines would ever cross the minds of any of our runners tonight, but that may have not necessarily been a very popular or even known option available to players back in Fabul Gauntlet.
Yeah, the D machine grind was certainly a known grind, but the kind of easy manipulation was, if I'm remembering correctly, really as a result of ZZ3 when which itself was a response to D machines kind of coming into vogue around that time. ZZ3 introduced the no run flag, and then the step manipulation kind of was a result of getting around that, where you could do your step manipulation and not have to run into enemies up on the giant that you would then have to run away from.
I see. So D machine may have been a thing back in Fabul Gauntlet then, but just not as easily manipulated into, which makes sense. And there have been plenty of other things, developed or knowledge that have been curated throughout the community over the last 3 years since Fabul Gauntlet, which, people nowadays are the beneficiaries of for, spring tournaments, as well as other ways to learn the game. I'm sure the Discord, which is great. If you haven't joined it, please join it. It is a great location to learn about this game and get involved in races, but all the information floating over there in, the Newbies Corner or tech trips or so forth, or all the different resources, but also, how the community has developed. With the Pink Puff League, for example, being an outstanding way for new players to get involved in the game, or the latter to give people, a chance to get their chops around or get their hands around a 1v1 situation on varying flag sets and expanding their skill set prior to a tournament. I think Possum Morpheus had said that, newer players or players nowadays are just so much more educated or so much darn faster than they were back in the day, back in Fabul Gauntlet or back during, like ZZ3. That is almost kind of scary.
Yeah, and new players, especially with the Pink Puff League, is just you can't say enough good things about what Oscar has done in with the Pink Puff League to build up the confidence and skills of newer runners. But yeah, with all the clubs in the off season and with all of the resources available on the wiki, really new runners can get their feet wet just right away and jump in and be competitive from day one. It's really exciting. It's got to keep you on your toes, right, Bob?
Yeah, absolutely. I guess I had an advantage when I started playing. I started playing, after Lollyho League, but before ZZ4, just when the Pink Puff League started. So I got to participate in that, whereas a lot of, runners who had been around for quite a while did not have that same opportunity. But also, the amount of people in the community who are, regularly streaming all the time, whether it was Martin Broadcloak, Possum Morpheus, Pancras, PK, tons of people were streaming. I could just pop into their channels, ask questions, and you'll find that plenty of people across the community are more than willing to share the knowledge available that they have at their hands to newer players to try to bring them up to speed. So, I've heard older players or players who have been around for a while say they wish they had these resources available to them when they started, back in the Fabul Gauntlet days or even prior to that. But now we have, all this knowledge around. It's never been easier to get into the game.
Very much so. And if you're still watching and you're not part of the community, what are you waiting for? Head on in there, and you can race, you can fun run. Every skill level is welcome. It really is one of the best places on the internet just to hang out and talk about this game we love so much, and also Final Fantasy 14 for some reason.
You know, I haven't played Final Fantasy 14 since Endwalker launched, but I think they're doing some kind of Final Fantasy 4 related stuff in the patches nowadays. So maybe that's why people like it. I don't know.
Oh, I'm sure there's a really good reason. I'm just way behind the times.
Yeah. Kids these days playing their Final Fantasy 14s. Back in my day, we had run buffering and active time battles and turn-based combat.
Yeah. Yeah. Back at, I'm only comfortable with one person attacking at a time.
Mm-hmm. Like, I think I was talking with a few people on a different Discord the other day, and it is pretty wild to think that the last time Square Enix made a turn-based Final Fantasy game was Final Fantasy X. You know, mainline game, at least. And that was like 22 or 23 years ago. Bring back active time battles. Bring back, you know, turn-based combat.
I think it's due for a comeback. I really do.
I think so. Unfortunately, not Final Fantasy 16 by the looks of it.
And also, I guess not Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. It would be a hard left turn to take there.
Wilder things have happened. But yeah. Oh, I'm just noticing now, too, Jaybrun getting his revenge on Sylph Trapchest.
He is not going to leave this scene until he takes care of the Sylph Trapchest once and for all.
It is a grudge at this point. Also ready at the level 49 and she wants to be level 50, but still, it's a grudge.
And so, hopefully Jaybrun will save before Zeromus, so he won't have to do Sylph Cave a fourth time if he were to wipe the Zeromus.
Like, Jaybrun, I get it. I was just like you. I'm still kind of like you. Why save? It's not worth it. You know, think of all the seconds you save over the course of the seed by not actually saving. You could save like a whole 30 seconds if you don't save at all. Time is valuable.
And Jaybrun gonna use one Siren, I think, to get that new Gauntlet.
Yeah, I believe we found a Siren in a trap chest in the Sylph Cave, so we actually have two of them. One should be more than enough with the tanky item that Jaybrun currently has. And we should see a Z fight shortly after.
Paul Grant, meanwhile, scaling the tower. So we'll have his other piece of the puzzle soon.
So it's actually be a little bit of a neck and neck between Tall Grant and Jaybrun here, because Tall Grant's pretty much already done with his grind. He did everything. Jaybrun appears to have faded that Luca cave and wherever the spoon was from. So it's not going to have to deal with that alt gauntlet down in the Luca cave. But they should both be entering Z relatively similar.
Yeah, we'll see if Jaybrun decides to hightail it from here.
One thing I'm a little concerned about on Jaybrun's side is that ZZ Top, who is apparently Sid today, has a lot of HP, probably very fast. Certainly had the curse ring, but maybe his mages aren't exactly RA1 at this point. It's hard to say.
We will see as Jaybrun will walk through that pass door into front stage, and it looks like preparing for the possibility that Rydia might have to be a white mage. Learning Ashura. Well, while we're looking for these runners to complete the next step, Tella Says Relax has finished in 5th place with a time of 2:24.41. GG's to Tella Says Relax.
GG to him. Now Tella finally can relax.
Yes. He can lay down his implements of destruction.
He
with
can
the
cast
job to
Meteor and take a nap, as he does in the normal game.
That's
But
true.
I think he takes a
Oh.
nap, right?
Yeah, he'll probably be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
I'm sure he's snoring.
How old is Tella, actually? I'm going to look this up real quick.
Oh
He
yeah.
looks like he's ancient, but I don't think he's actually that old.
it would be hilarious if he was like 37 in the game. Like that's
He's 60. Give me a break here. He looks like he's 90.
yeah.
Like he
Yeah,
must dye his beard white.
A 60-year-old. Okay, I'm. A 60-year-old shouldn't just should still have stamina enough to use Meteo, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's canonically appropriate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Tella was done dirty in the story.
He'll be aged up for the HBO series.
Who's gonna play him in, the HBO remake?
Ooh. I
All right. I want two names. I want a good name and a bad name.
yeah. All right. The bad name is Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage could, I think, really deliver the gravitas of that the Spoony Bard needs.
Mhm.
Actually, I'd like to see Liam Neeson be Tella. I mean, Ian
You'll be
McKellen.
able to pull it off.
Yeah, Ian McKellen would be typecast a little bit, but that could work too. How about you, Rybok? Who's your dream?
I think a good Tella would be like Bill Nye, just dye his hair white and maybe throw a wig on him.
Mm.
And a bad Tella would be Dwayne Johnson. But you could just argue that he had the power staff on.
Tella,
Dwayne Johnson.
You look a
Yeah,
little different.
Just over the course of the movie or the series, Dwayne Johnson could lose some weight. Maybe get a little frail. Wear some baggy clothing. I don't know. And then someone throw the rocks at him and he dies. I don't know.
No, I mean, I think you have to kind of work the Rock's physique into Tella's story at that point. Oh yeah, Mount Ordeals must have a really great gym setup because Tella got swole.
Like, what were they feeding you in the city, Tella? He was hanging out in the watery path, just eating raw fish.
Yes.
And doing push-ups.
Well, I mean, you know how many fish the Rock eats every day. He's probably catching like 10 fish for breakfast. 10 whole cods.
Gaston had his eggs, the Rock has fish. That'd be a really cool idea. There should be like a Netflix not a Netflix, but HBO, Final Fantasy 4 series. The story is good enough.
It's a great story. I mean, there's a reason this game has endured for as long as it has. It's because the story itself is just so iconic.
Mm-hmm. I just really like Final Fantasy 4 because I think it's the first time Square tried to actually tell a story. There's not really a story in 1, 2, or 3. I mean, maybe in 2, but people didn't really like it because more Saga than it was Final Fantasy. But the story here is it was groundbreaking for the time. 1992, a video game trying to tell me a real dramatic story and is taking itself seriously. Amazing. But speaking of amazing, I think J-Run's done, almost done. This nuke may do it.
Yeah, he's getting close. And you really can't overstate the effect the music had as well. And J-Run has knocked down Zeromus and finishes in 6th place with a time of 2:29:41. GG's to J Brian.
Ooh, sub 230.
He did it.
He did it. He is free. He's also free to join us for an interview if you'd like. But I don't think so. It might be a little too late for him, so he'll be passing. And,
He's
I
gonna
definitely don't blame him on that.
He's gonna let the rubble he left behind in the Sylph Cave do the talking for him, I think.
Yep. He had taken out his aggression on, a lot of ghosts and morables and a lot of toads and a lady who seems to like them a little too much.
Yeah.
And now he's going to go dream, sweet dreams of, quaking them more.
And
Now we turn our attention to Tall Grant.
Yes. On his Zerona's fight. We'll take care of Charles, and then I think the really interesting casting call would have to be Sid. You need, because Sid has some great laugh lines in the original game, but you also have to make Sid's many sacrifices feel earned. So who's got enough gravitas for that role and could also grow a great beard?
Who played Walter White in Breaking Bad?
Bryan Cranston.
That guy can definitely play Sid.
Yes.
He just needs to lighten up a little bit.
Although, also, I'd like to see John Hamm tackle it too.
Yeah, that could work.
He'd have to bulk up a little bit. Learn from Tella.
But I guess the hardest casting would be who would play Fu in the live-action remake? Who had that much hair?
Yeah, you definitely would need a good prosthetic wig on there. It'd be if only we could get Frank Sinatra back from the dead. I think he'd be a hilarious film.
Well, maybe we can reanimate him one day.
We'll try. Ring-a-ding-ding.
Anyone could be Golbez.
Anybody.
I could be Golbez. Just throw me in a suit of armor. Got it.
George
I
Lopez.
can talk really deep.
Dane Cook.
Seinfeld. Let's get Seinfeld to be Golbez.
What's the
all these
deal
crystals?
with this dragon I have?
It's crazy. I don't understand it.
And Tall Grant takes down Zeromas, finishes in 7th place with a time of 2:33:17. GG's to Tall Grant, and we'll see if we can get him in for an interview.
Tall Grant definitely wins the Iron Man award tonight.
Yes.
Tall Grant, GG's.
Hey, thank you very much, folks. That was not the execution I was looking for tonight. Nah, I committed a 20-minute mistake because I forgot I bought coffins, and then other than that, just every decision about where I decided to check turned out to be wrong. So, I don't know. That's a Cub seed. What do you expect?
Yeah, the trolling potential was high from the beginning. So, what was the trolliest part of it to you?
Wasting all that time with that D-Mist at the Ribbon Room. As the longer that went on, and the more that I saw the lack of finishes, I thought, okay, it's got to be buried, it's got to be deep, and that kind of influenced what I was going to do. So I said, you know what? That doesn't matter how trolly, how awful, how terrible. I'm going to find something in the bottom of the moon. We're going to check it because people aren't going to haven't taken the time to sit through something like that, and it bit me.
And so, early on, this seed kind of presented itself to you. You kind of had a stark, a tough time with the Ashura in the Antlion Cave that was required for underground, and then once he got underground, your choices were Keyless Tower and Dwarf Castle and a really ugly Feymark. How are you feeling around that time?
Pretty awful, actually. It felt really, really bad to go into the into Baron and find those vampires, which could have made things better. But the kicker was I, for some reason, got in my mind about thinking about Warp Glitch, so I decided to skip Dwarf and I went up the tower. I think I would have felt pretty good about how everything was going if I'd just gotten up there and Palamid had Toad on him. It would give me a path through. Of course, I bought those 5 coffins. That was smart and a good play, and just completely forgot I had them in my pocket. As soon as I could, if I'd remembered to pull them out, I could have gotten through that. Really, I just need to get Palom up to about Quake and a little bit more power on everybody, and to get going. And I guess I don't play with T standard much. It threw me off a little bit trying to figure out how to deal with it. I stayed out of Evelyn Castle when I would otherwise have gone there, and I think that might have actually been just a really smart play. Rosa could have carried a couple of fights. Young was pretty strong in there, and just a couple of items in there make a world of difference to make the party a little bit better.
Well, Paul, quick question for you.
Yeah.
There's one thing that you and a couple other runners did on Restream tonight. You took those trap chests out in Lower Babel. That seems to be, I mean, that was an interesting play to me because it's not something that I've seen very often on these flags. What made you want to do that?
Not really. I know that it's just kind of a random T5 to T8 treasure that's going to be in there, but again, I haven't done a whole lot of T standard, so I figured, well, let's see what the odds are that we pull something nice down there. Can we pull out a, like a Stardust Rod or something that's going to power Palom up? And again, just, it was something that I knew if I got that Thunderclaw on Yong, would be a fairly quick and easy fight. I think the experience was a lot less than I would have liked. I really would have probably liked the one back where I took the 2 Flame Dogs and then wiped to it, because that would have been a much better boost for Palom and kind of pushing where I wanted him to be. But it was just kind of one of those frustrating moments of, if I'd found Sirens when I got underground, I had a good plan. If I'd found a easy key item to like lead a natural progression for the check, and I wish I'd remembered those coffins. That was enough experience to get me jump started. But what are you going to do? End of the week, and I'm just happy to get to play the community race. It's something that I don't always get to do, and it's worth it no matter how sleep deprived I am.
Well, what do you think of these of this Fabul Gauntlet flag set, and what was your experience with the Fabul Gauntlet tournament?
To tell you that, well, so I wasn't really involved in the community when Fabul Gauntlet went on, so this is really my first time seeing it. And for as miserable as parts of the seed was, I'd probably play this again. This was fun and interesting to me.
All right, and then last question from me before I let you go is, who plays Tella in the HBO limited series based on Final Fantasy IV?
If I had to get somebody to play Tella in the limited series, shoot, put Ian McKellen in that role. He'll do awesome.
Yep, I think no arguments here.
I mean, it was better than my suggestion of The Rock, so.
Well, I do want to say thank you guys for calling it and for staying up with me, because I think I'm the last one on stream to be done. But special shout out then to everybody involved with the broadcast tonight. Of course, we have Cubs Rule, who's doing the main broadcast. We have Rybon, we have Sheep Launcher, and we have Bardic Panda hanging out too. So I'm sure you guys did a quality broadcast. I can't wait to see it back.
Well, of course, thank you very much for volunteering to be restreamed, and GG's from all of us.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Good night.
And way to stick it out, and GG. All right, and we did have an 8th place finisher. Genobean finished in 8th place with a time of 2:35:36, and that's going to wrap us up for tonight. Remember, on twitch.tv/Free Enterprise at 3 p.m. Eastern, On Saturday, we have Baron's Heroes Journey, always a really fun time, so we hope to see you there for that. But once again, want to thank the Intrepid Tracker, the Bardic Panda, our restreamer, Cubs Rule 21, for making a peach of the scene. And thanks to you, Rybon. This was a lot of fun.
It was a blast, Sheep Launcher. And, always looking forward to more commentary with you in the future. This was a heck of a seed to watch. And probably more of a heck of a seed to run for our runners tonight. So GG's to all of them for their fantastic performance. Shout out to the top 3, Tybalt number 1, Rex Banner number 2, and Gurin number 3. But I think we are heading on off to RPG Limit Break coming up. They're currently doing a marathon. The current game being featured is Lord of the Rings War in the North. A speed run of that one. So head on over there with the rest of us. We'll be cheering them on. And yeah, thanks very much for watching.
Yep, so long.